KHQA's Kristen Aguirre is out and about. We'll get her take on the weather too. She is out in our Flood Watch 2014 coverage.
That's right. Good morning, Kristen. You are actually outside. How brisk is it actually out there?
Good morning. Now we are live here in Fort Madison, right across the street from the Iowa State Penitentiary, where Flood Watch is completely on here in the city. Now check out where sandbagging efforts have already started, and check out how they are protecting their substation here and their utilities. Sandbags are already surrounding this. Now Iowa and Fort Madison are just one of the tri-state communities that are well underway in trying to protect their communities from the rising river levels. In Fort Madison, we started sandbagging last night, and we'll continue on later this morning. Now coming up in a little bit, we're going to be checking in with a Lee County emergency management official that's going to be talking to us about what the state of Iowa is actually doing to protect their riverfront communities. We'll also be checking in to see what other tri-state communities are doing to protect their cities. Now that's all coming up in just a little bit, but before we pitch back to the station, check out the river. Now it is almost touching the bottom of this bridge here. And across the way in Iota, they are also already well underway in sandbagging. We'll check out those efforts coming up in just a little bit.
I just happened across the Bayview Bridge, or the Memorial Bridge in Quincy last night. You can see that the water's up there. You can see how it's starting to get close to the bridges.
I was even down by Quincy's riverfront.
Kicking off this morning's Flood 2014 coverage, Kristen Aguirre live in Fort Madison with the latest out of that area. Good morning, Kristen.
Good morning. Now check out the riverfront. Now it is coming up further and further onto shore. If you could take a look, it's basically already reaching this utility station here, where residents and volunteers have sandbagged the entire area to try to protect it. Now residents were out here last night. We'll continue sandbagging into the morning time. We'll coming back a little bit later this morning, where volunteers and residents are expected to show up and to continue help sandbagging. But they're not expected to see major flooding, just some minor flooding this weekend, but 20 minutes north in Burlington. Now that's where they're expected to see some major flooding. Another tri-state community expected to see some major flooding is right across the river on the other side in Iota. Now they actually need some volunteers to help sandbag. Those volunteers are needed down on Meadow Street. Roads along the levee are closed through traffic. And over again in the Iowa side in downtown Montrose, workers have set up berms and pumps. And in Keokuk, Mayor Tom Marion says that the river there is at 18 feet. It's expected to crest at 23. Workers in the area have built a gravel berm to 26 feet and are in the process of creating 10,000 sandbags. So any volunteers that are interested in helping, they are definitely needed to help prepare for the rising river levels here. Now over on the Missouri side, MoDOT has closed US 61 at Alexandria, about 2.5 miles east of US 136 near the Des Moines River Bridge. Drivers normally going across the bridge at Alexandria to Keokuk are being directed to the Des Moines River Bridge in St. Francisville. Motorists traveling into Iowa should go north on US 27 in Wayland and continue through St. Francisville into Iowa. Alexandria resident and former Mayor Bob Davis told KHQA he is hopeful that the river will go down in the next couple of days. That will allow MoDOT to reopen the stretch of the highway in Clark County. Davis said crews are in the process of sandbagging the railroad crossing at north and south ends of Alexandria. And down to Canton now, where floodgates have already been installed just north of the town due to the rising river water. Now Canton's riverfront campground off Henderson Street has been closed. The Missouri Department of Transportation has also closed off part of the business route of US 61 going through Canton's downtown area. Right now, the water levels in the Canton area are up to about 18 feet, just 2 feet away from what's considered moderate flood levels. So tri-state communities are already gearing up for that Flood Watch 2014. We'll continue to cover and let you know what these communities are doing to prepare for the rising river levels. Again, if you are interested in volunteering, check out the website at KHQA.com, because these communities definitely need your help. I'll send it back to you, Chad.
All right, thanks, Kristen. This next Flood Watch report eyes on the rising rivers around the tri-states. KHQA's Kristen Aguirre is live this morning in Fort Madison. Hey, Kristen.
Good morning. That's right. The rising river levels are threatening tri-state communities all over the area. What are residents and volunteers doing to protect their cities? We'll have that answer next on KHQA This Morning.
Time to kick off this morning's Flood Watch 2014 coverage. Kristen Aguirre is live in Fort Madison with the latest out of that area. What you got, Kristen?
Good morning. Now the river continues to come further and further up on the shore. Now check out, this is the Lee County sub pump. Now they have been adding protection, which they're doing actually right now, if Mark can get that. They've been adding protection to make sure that this area stays protected since about Tuesday. Now they're going to continue to add some of their sandbags to this area throughout the day, and they will run some pumps. Now this is just one of the areas Lee County is trying to protect. With me now is Lee County Emergency Management Coordinator Steve Serena. Now, Steve, can you tell us a little bit about what the county is doing to make sure that their area stays protected by these rising river levels?
Right now we actually have 4 places that we're doing flood protection at. One of them is what we call Green Bay Bottoms, or Green Bay Levee and Drainage District. That's up in the northeast corner up by Weaver. They're actually working on the levee up there. Here in Fort Madison, in Montrose, and also in Keokuk. And this morning they just actually raised the predicted crest about 6 inches in Burlington to 24.1. We were looking at about 23.6. Keokuk is still at 23 feet. So we're going to look at now, it's probably start actually getting a little bit more ramped up and more getting more and more stuff out in the area.
So is there any areas where volunteers are needed to come and help sandbag? And speaking of sandbags, this area you were telling us a little bit about, it's not just sandbags, it's kind of what's underneath those tarps that's very interesting.
Right, and right now, Kristen, on the volunteers, we're not asking for any, but that could change today. We have a conference call. We have 2 conference calls actually during the day, one at 7 and one at 2, with all of the major players. And so that's where we find out what we need, and then we go from there. Actually, underneath that plastic, along with sandbags, it's actually a cube. It's a 3-foot by 3-foot basket that they can put any kind of, you put sand, rocks, or anything else along those lines, and then cover it up with plastic. It's much quicker than trying to fill a couple thousand sandbags. What you see right here would probably take somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,000 to 4,000 sandbags, and it would take quite an effort to get it put up. This doesn't take that long to put up, a couple of hours, and they're ready to roll.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Steve. Now, Fort Madison may not need any volunteers just yet, but across the river on the Illinois side in Nyota, volunteers are definitely needed. Now, if you're interested in helping out today, you can meet on Meadow Street. Now, roads along the levee are closed through traffic, and then downriver in Montrose, workers have set up berms and pumps, and in Keokuk, Mayor Tom Marion says the river there is at 18 feet. It's expected to crest at 23 feet. And workers in Keokuk have built a gravel berm to 26 feet, are in the process right now of creating, get this, 10,000 sandbags. Now next over, let's check out what's happening over in Missouri now. MoDOT has closed US 61 at Alexandria and about 2.5 miles east of US 136 near the Des Moines River Bridge. Now, drivers normally going across the Des Moines River Bridge at Alexandria to Keokuk are being directed to the Des Moines River Bridge at St. Francisville. Motorists traveling into Iowa should go north on US 27 to Wayland and continue through St. Francisville into Iowa. Alexandria resident and former Mayor Bob Davis told KHQA he is hopeful that the Des Moines River will go down in the next couple of days, and that will allow MoDOT to reopen that stretch of highway in Clark County. Davis said crews are in the process of sandbagging the railroad crossing at the north and south ends of Alexandria. And now down to Canton, where floodgates have already been installed just north of the town due to the rising river water on Canton's riverfront campground off Henderson Street. It has been closed. Now, MoDOT has also closed off part of the business route of US 61 going through Canton's downtown area. Right now, last check, KHQA checked that the water levels in Canton were up to 18 feet, just 2 feet away from what's considered moderate flood level. Now, KHQA will continue to moderate flood watch here in the tri-state area and keep you updated on where volunteers are needed, or if any information is needed. You could always double check at KHQA.com. I'm going to send things back to the studio at Chad, where he has some more flood watch coverage.
That's right. Thanks, Kristen. The next flood watch